Daniel Negreanu is looking down at pocket tens. Pre-flop begins with a standard yet deceptive setup involving three very different playing styles. Negreanu, operating from position, opens the pot to 2,500, looking to thin the field. Phil Lack, holding ace-queen offsuit, finds himself in a spot where many aggressive pros would 3-bet to isolate the opener. However,
just calls.
He keeps Negreanu's range wide, but he also invites the third player into the mix. Rick Salomon, never one to turn down a cheap flop with a suited connector, comes along with 6-3 suited. We head to the flop three-way, with Negreanu holding a strong pair and Locke holding a hand that dominates the Broadway portion of Negreanu's range, but is currently just ace-high. The flop creates a massive disparity in equity. Negreanu has flopped bottom set, hitting his 10 to create a monster. The king on top is the perfect disguise. It connects heavily with Negreanu's perceived pre-flop raising range, allowing him to represent a top pair while actually holding a set. Salomon checks his air, and Negreanu fires a bet of 5,500. This is where Phil Lack makes a questionable decision that defines his sticky play style. He holds a gut shot straight draw. Against a tight player, this is an easy fold. But against Negreanu, who is capable of continuation betting with pure air or a smaller pair like 8s or 9s, Locke convinces himself that his hand has showdown value. The turn brings the king, pairing the board. This is the magic card for Negreanu. He improves to a full house, 10s full of kings. He is now unbeatable.
Fires 18.
Really, Danielson? 18, Danielson?
Too late to change my mind now.
It's true, you're kind of committed to that.
I'd show you a card, but they're both the same.
I'm afraid you have two 10s. How can I call? I can't call. I fold.
I have two 10s. I have two 10s. What do you mean I'm afraid? How did you know that? You didn't have a king, obviously.
No, I didn't have a king.
I did have two 10s. Well done. Where does that rank? Like, as far as my face, do you believe that I was telling the truth or lies? Because we're mixing that up now.
I thought you had three 10s.
Yeah.
Brian Rast is looking down at pocket aces. Pre-flop brings us a confrontation that represents the ultimate nightmare for any high-stakes professional, the cooler in a battle of aggression. Lou opens the action to 2,500 with pocket queens. In the online world where Lou plays 24 tables at once, this is a standard open that prints money over time.
Hey, Phil, do you want some good luck?
Oh, that's dangerous. When you see my hand and then I'll try another one. That was fun.
One time?
Yeah, let's try it.
One time.
Look at both of our hands, you know, when we're both in it. This is where I lose 20, 30K.
This one?
However, sitting to his left is Rast, a legend of the live high-stakes arena who is used to playing for millions in Bobby's room. Rast looks down at the prettiest sight in Holdem, pocket aces. Rast knows that Lou is capable of light 3-betting and 4-betting, so he decides to stoke the fire immediately.
This is how I would sweat it in real life. I would go like this and hope for not that hand.
Lame.
That was lame, yeah. Well, Rast ruined the fun.
This is a sizing designed to look like a squeeze or a re-steal, inviting Lou to fight back. And fight back he does.
How much more is that?
Lou, refusing to be bullied and holding a premium pair, puts in a 4-bet to 23,000. At this point, the alarm bells should be ringing. In deep stacked live poker, a 4-bet usually polarizes a range significantly, but Lou is sticking to his aggressive online roots where queens are simply too strong to fold.
How much is it?
23,000.
20 what?
23.
23. How much more do you have?
Like, less than, not that much more. That help? You want exact?
28 more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that much more.
I love this. This is fun.
All right. Amanda.
It's time to look, Amanda. Go.
Amanda.
I like Brian Rast, but this is a pretty gnarly slow roll.
All right, I'm gonna go all in.
Are you serious or not?
Yeah.
You want to get
All right, I call.
All in and call.
Ooh.
That hurt.
He goes, are you serious? I never heard that before.
You played that like a pro, kid. Now you better run two boards because you know the first one's coming with a queen every time.
What do you want to do? I don't care. I prefer to run more boards, I guess.
What do you want to do? You pick.
Twice is fine.
Okay.
King, king, deuce.
That was like some serious paint, but it was black, so it wasn't as scary because it's got to be red for me to be scared.
Correct. He knows because see how they're both black? That means that
He's smarter than he looks.
9 of hearts. Full boat for Brian
That's a good
Rast.
card for you.
Yeah.
Great card for you.
How's that a good card?
Because now there's one less ace he can hit.
Because now the next flop won't come out
Yeah,
just
you're gonna-
ace,
yeah, I mean,
and it's just like over.
Of all the cards.
Lou hits his queen.
Hey, there's a queen, sorry.
It was a good card, I guess. The ace,
I'm in trouble. There's
You have the ace of hearts.
the ace. Oh, I do. That's the way I can win.
Backdoor straight.
Is backdoor hearts.
Backdoor straight.
To the turn. 8 of diamonds. Well, that closes the door on all the backdoor outs. Randy Lou now has a full house. Brian Rast can only win with a bigger full house, which means he's going to need the last ace in the deck. King of diamonds. Randy's going to win half the pot.
Scary. All right. Chop up that big pot.
chop it up.
chop up the blinds.
Yeah, he deserved to be a
Holy
little
cow,
lucky.
Ras. We should have done it one time, my kid.
Yeah, it's easy to say now, right?
No.
You never know.
I'm a funny pro, I guess, because I can't help but think that stuff.
So look what happens, Matty. You sweated his cards, and he just lost, I don't know, 60,000.
Yeah.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at Jack 9 offsuit.
Freak. What a freak.
He's a gift from nature.
Wow. You know what? I'm glad that I've changed your opinion because I don't really ever want to be known as a normal guy.
Pre-flop begins with a dynamic that always promises action. Negreanu has placed a straddle, effectively buying the big blind and doubling the stakes before the cards are even dealt. This forces the table to play for a bloated pot and creates aggressive incentives. Randy Lou, the online volume king, looks down at ace-3 suited. This is a hand that thrives in deep-stacked, straddled pots because of its nut potential. Lou raises to 2,500, attacking the straddle aggressively.
What is that? What did you do? 25?
25.
Well, your button VPIP is rather high as well.
I'm not Bryn.
I know, but you still play a lot of pots in that late little position, so I can call here profitably long term.
Yep.
Daniel makes the call.
If you were nitty, I would have folded this hand.
The flop falls a monotone miracle. For Negreanu, this is a tricky spot. He has flopped middle pair with his jack, giving him a piece of the board, and knowing him, he definitely wants to call.
Okay, this could be trouble for both of us. I'm already feeling a lot of pain. Check. Oh, so fast. You don't think. He's so good. Online, the same thing. 75 decisions in 3 seconds. How much?
35.
Well, I can't fold.
How many
Clearly.
times do you misclick a day?
He doesn't misclick. He's
Never?
genius.
Yeah.
Negreanu decides to peel one card. He figures that his pair of jacks might be good if Lou is bluffing, and he wants to see if the board pairs or if he can hit a straight.
Is that a misclick 35 or you got something?
Miss chip.
The turn brings the 7, and it is the 4th heart on the board. This card drastically changes the whole hand.
Well, now this kind of kills the action. There could have been a whole craziness. Now the heart's already there, so either you got one or you don't, right? I'm gonna defer.
9,000.
Okay, you're good. You bet like a medium heart here too. I know you. 9,000?
9,000.
Okay, you bet a lot of hands here. Good player you are. I like the bet 9. I don't have a heart, so I'll let you take it.
Thank you.
Good bluff. No, you didn't bluff. You had it.
Of course I had it.
Did something.
Of course I had 2 cards.
There you go. That's why you don't call out position, get outplayed by these whippersnappers, right?
Tough.
Lock.
They like.
Check call, check.
Phil Lack is looking down at pocket 7s.
I think he plays pretty well.
You really mean that? I almost want to bet you 10K you can't pass a lie detector test. Saying that you believe he plays really well.
Antonio's my PR guy for me getting paid off in these games and stuff, you know? I slip him a little.
I owe the ante, right?
I haven't had a 3 of a kind in 130 hands. You just come right in and
Hockey sticks for lock.
no problem.
Min raises.
I mean, that's your image. You don't even, like the guy crying calls with 3 kings, you know?
Cassavetes calls.
Call with 3 kings, yeah. There's no raise there, sir.
Yeah, just check, call.
Pre-flop begins with a fascinating mix of professional cunning and Hollywood ambition. Locke kicks things off from early position. His hand is squarely in the implied odds category and opens the pot to 800. Nick Cassavetes, the famous film director and a capable amateur, spots an opportunity to set mine with pocket 4s. He makes the disciplined flat call, hoping to flop a miracle. The action then moves to Barry Greenstein in the blinds. Barry has cultivated an image of a tight, solid player for decades. He decides to weaponize this reputation and decides to put in a squeeze play. He raises to 3,500, hoping to leverage his image to force folds from the medium pairs of Locke and Cassavetes. However, the price is too tempting and the stacks are too deep. Both Lack and Cassavetes make the call.
Barry, it looks like a phenomena. That's all you have?
Sorry.
Short stack Barry doing it to the people. You know, it's what, every time I see you on TV,
You gonna let him call you short stack Barry?
he's got like 28,000. He's doing the short stack torture on everyone. And you have like a little fortune, 100, 200.
A little over 100.
The board is terrifying. The action checks to the pre-flop raiser. Greenstein, maintaining his aggression, bets 5,000. He is semi-bluffing, trying to represent an overpair like kings or aces. Lack check raises to 7,200. It is a massive power move that screams strength.
I full.
Barry convinces himself that Lack is making a move with a draw.
Moves all in for 34,000.
Come on, Barry, one time.
And Locke insta-calls.
Handshake. Well, I sure would have liked
Hey,
that.
how about this, Barry? We do it 3 times, but only the
One
first
time,
and last
Barry,
times
one
count.
time. Punish the Unabomber.
Okay, how about this, Barry? We run it 2 times, but only the second time counts. Because the first one I don't feel good about. Come on.
Oh, I
2
like
times.
that. The second
2
one
times,
counts.
the second one counts. Come on, you know as a math guy, it's the same thing. 1 time, just the first one, that's the one that has to
What'd you
count.
fold?
8 of hearts.
The first one's gonna be a loss. I can feel the
How do
second
you
one's
just
gonna
come in and make hands like this? Is why he wins. I'm sitting here for
you're
10
telling me-
hours.
Tell me this guy's not good?
And then I get involved
3
in the guy
kings,
who will
top
want-
set. I mean, it's unreal. It's just
Yeah,
unreal.
except now I'm against an opponent who runs it once.
And then he raises it 75,000. There you go.
Let's put an 8 of hearts out there.
8 of hearts.
4 spades.
Oh, boy.
Cassavetes would have made a set.
Set over set. That's so
Eight of
sick.
hearts.
To the river, 5 of spades, and Barry has gone broke.
Wow. Wow.
Now you and I would have had action with the 5
Oh,
on the river.
we would have gotten it. We would have gotten
You
it
would've
all
got
in.
all?
Yeah, we got the whole thing. All you have to do is not
No,
raise
you
like
bet
a
he
monkey.
calls. Bet call.
Well, I said,
It's for luck.
what am I supposed to do?
LOL Cashmans.
Bill Perkins is looking down at Queen 8 offsuit.
You can't let him hit the 2-outers.
I don't think you know how to beat this game.
If he had 2 9s and he just shoved there, and he just put in like 80,000, you think that's good poker because he won?
No,
Is that good poker because he won? Or
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he
What are you
made the
saying
move
exactly?
on the right moment and in the right spot. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
Because,
so he's
he
playing
was
really good
getting
poker.
scared.
So he's like a great player now, huh? What are you saying? I
You
want
don't
to hear you say
understand
it.
what I'm saying. You don't
Well,
understand what I'm
tell
saying.
me. He's a great player, right? This guy.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
Pre-flop sets the stage for a classic collision between a fearless professional and a wealthy amateur who refuses to back down.
It was great poker. I folded. He got me off a pair.
Dario Minieri, the aggressive Italian pro known for his hyper-loose style, opens the pot to 1,100 with ace-queen suited. It is a standard open, but the action gets interesting immediately. The flop falls a texture that spells disaster for the amateur. Both Minieri and Perkins flop top pair, but the difference in kickers is catastrophic.
He's up like 100 again or something. the young Shalom monk.
It's awesome.
Minieri starts with a continuation bet of 2,100. Elke, holding 2 overcards and a gut shot straight draw, makes a sticky call, refusing to give up just yet. Then, Perkins decides to take control. Misreading the strength of his hand and likely putting the pros on draws or weaker pairs, he raises to 10,000. This is a massive overplay. By raising top pair with a weak kicker in a multi-way pot, Perkins effectively isolates himself against hands that crush him. He folds out the worse hands and keeps in the better ones. Minieri, realizing he has the amateur dominated, makes the disciplined call. He doesn't need to re-raise yet. He wants to keep Perkins on the hook. Elke, realizing he is sandwiched between a raiser and a caller, wisely gets out of the way. Minieri checks the turn. A brilliant tactical move. He feigns weakness and invites Perkins to fire again. And Perkins does take the bait. He bets 15,000, fully convinced that his queen is the best hand. He is value owning himself betting for value when he is actually behind.
56.1 more.
Minieri moves all in for 70,600.
Minieri springs the trap. He shoves all in for a total of 70,600. This is the moment of truth. Perkins has bloated the pot with a marginal hand and is now facing a shove that represents extreme strength.
You must have me beat. Yeah, just go look in my pocket for a second. This doesn't go on the table. Just see what I got left.
Tell me what you have and look at my face.
I bet you don't.
Come on, I can't get an edge on that because I'm already made my bet. I did already my bet.
Are you gonna show your hand?
I can't answer this now.
Amanda!
I can't answer this now.
Can she make you show your hand?
I don't want him to show his hand.
Oh, come on, guys. Amanda, you got that one right. That was a good answer, because the hand's not really over.
Just for agony's sake, I think your hand's worth $56,000. I want to see your hand.
He calls.
Ace queen.
You got it.
What do you have?
Queen 8.
How many times you want to run?
3.
Okay.
River number 1, 5.
5.
You didn't have any ace. I gotta give you good news.
River number 2, tray of spades.
Oh, good talking, Dario.
Shot for an 8. For my friend, 1 time for Texas, an 8 for Texas.
This game's sick.
Texas, you
River number 3 goes to Dario.
Take it.
Ship full cargo to the Italian.
They ship 80,000 with one pair at this table.
All right, let's rebuy.
Vanessa Selbst is looking down at Jack 7 suited.
Vanessa may be steaming a bit after that last hand. Looks like she's getting right back on the horse.
Pre-flop begins with a sequence that has become legendary in the poker world, not for its brilliance, but as a cautionary tale of what happens when leveling wars go completely off the rails.
He parlayed $50 into 50,000 one weekend.
And then that 50,000 is now what?
I don't know, 40 million or something.
7.2 million or something?
But I was like,
what's it like to have 7.2 million?
I would not know.
Gotta be more than 7.2.
Right, it's more than 7.2. Two of the greatest poker minds.
I know, I like watching this stuff and not being in the hand.
Spirit and Vanessa battles.
Friedman, a veteran of the high-stakes online streets, looks down at pocket aces. He puts in a standard 3-bet to 4,000, looking to build a pot with the nuts. At this point, most players with Jack 7 would simply fold and move on to the next hand. But Vanessa decides to fight. She believes Friedman is attacking her opening range light, so she puts in a cold 4-bet to 13,200. She is turning her hand into a bluff, trying to re-steal the initiative. Friedman, holding the aces, must be delighted. He doesn't slow play. He 5-bets to 35,000. This should be the end of the line.
30? 35.
Vanessa convinces herself that Friedman knows she is aggressive and is therefore 5-betting light to exploit her. She decides to represent the only hand that beats a bluff. Pocket aces. In a move that shocked the table, she 6-bets to 106,200. She has effectively turned Jack 7 into a massive bluff for her entire stack, trying to force a fold from a range that simply cannot fold.
All right, I'm all in.
Prolata's all in.
It is a mistake. I call.
Vanessa calls.
Aces for Prolata.
No.
He's got aces.
Yeah, I know.
I'll bet you
How
he's got
many do you
aces.
want to run it?
He has aces.
It's like 100%.
Of course. She has ace, king, or kings.
Nope, I have nothing. Twice?
Whatever you want.
Let's do 3 times.
Sure.
Okay.
She has live cards. Oh boy.
How much do you have?
He's got you covered, I think.
60,
Even worse, some of Vanessa's outs have been folded, so she's a bigger dog than she thinks. King 4-5.
That's not good.
6 of diamonds. 6 of diamonds.
Don't waste it. God.
To the turn. 9 of hearts.
All right. Put a deuce of clubs. Oh, ace of clubs is good. I'm such a. Why do I do this to myself? Every time. What are you laughing at?
I'm not laughing. I'm just,
Pretty sure he was laughing. 8 king 5 2 diamonds flush draw for Vanessa.
It's already a diamond over there.
There it is. That's the spirit. Show the other diamonds.
Yeah, 6 of diamonds would definitely be more useful here than it was in the last one.
Turn 5 of hearts.
Wow, Prolata is strong. How did he dodge it there?
No diamond, 3 of clubs.
What a brick.
Break ball.
Super brick.
Bricktastic. So Prolata's 2/3 of the way to scooping the biggest pot ever won on the big game. What an absolute gift from Vanessa. 4 6 king, 3 more bricks. This is getting hard to watch.
Not even a sweat.
Deuce of spades.
Nice hand.
Wow, Prolata did it. That's sick.
Tony G is looking down at ace-8 offsuit, but he's facing arguably the best in the world, Daniel Negreanu, who's holding jack-9 offsuit.
Tony calls.
I'm gonna raise you. Nothing crazy, just 2 more.
To 2,800.
I'm committed.
Tony calls.
Committed to the river. He's committed.
The flop comes queen 10 deuce rainbow. The check from Tony indicates he's not as comfortable committing to the pot as he was pre-flop, so Daniel will now be looking to apply pressure. He bets $3,500, which doesn't really give Tony a read, so I don't see how he could fold here.
Tony calls.
He's committed.
Well, he qualified.
He's got hot with ace high. The turn, 5 of clubs.
The turn changes nothing, and Tony checks again. I think Daniel has no choice but to keep attacking here.
That's 7,500.
If Tony thinks his ace high may be good, he's right.
He doesn't seem to be going for the fold like Negreanu wants him to.
He calls.
He's qualified.
Daniel is acting confident, but if the river doesn't deliver him the straight, he might be in big trouble since Tony is first to act.
The river, the 6 of clubs. Tony checks.
I think Tony was planning on betting the river but got scared of the flush.
Another brick for Daniel. Here comes the third barrel.
11,000.
Daniel's really hoping that Tony hasn't qualified.
Tony still looks like he doesn't want to fold, but folding or raising are the only options here. There's no way he just calls.
Qualified with a deuce or a 10?
Ace high.
I thought for sure it was a deuce.
I think Daniel's done a pretty good job of making this look like a value bet.
Easy money. There's so much in there. Take it.
Tony calls.
What if I'm on the show betting? I can't possibly have a pair. Ace is good. I have jack 9.
Tony G, man.
Negreanu is holding deuce 4 suited from the small blind, but he's up against Veldhuis and Harlow, who both have him beat. For now.
King 8 suited for Lex. Raised to 1,400. Suited 1 gapper for Daniel in the small blind. He calls. Ace 8 for Russ. He's in.
Flop comes ace jack 6. Negreanu understandably checks, but Harlow also checks with pair of aces, giving Veldhuis a free opportunity to scare them off.
He does, betting 2,700.
Lex's bet could easily just be a C bet, which it is, and Russ checks, so he looks pretty weak.
Daniel should definitely be folding here. I have no idea why he's counting his chips. It's hard to imagine a scenario where chasing this draw is worth it. He raises to 7,200. Harlow is in a good spot here with 95% chance to win.
Best hand.
But he folds.
That's a ridiculous fold. Russ just doesn't have enough time or chips to fold there. Why call pre-flop if you're going to fold top pair?
This is why you must attack first on the flop, especially with pair of aces. This could easily be a bluff, but Veldhuis has to think carefully, because even though he's got 80% equity, a king high is not something you usually call with on this flop against Negreanu.
Lex calls.
A stone float.
The turn would have given Russ trips.
Negreanu checks it over, clearly not feeling confident about his 4-2 offsuit. He's looking to see if Veldhuis will take a stab at this pot, but he also checks behind.
The river, the 9 of hearts.
Both these guys were up to the same thing, checking the turn so they can fire a bet on the river without it having to be too big.
There's that Veldhuisian stare.
Negreanu looks like he will try to represent the flush on the river. If he doesn't bet high enough, he might get raised by Veldhuis.
He bets 9,000.
This is a pretty good bet from Daniel. 9,000 makes it seem like he wants to get called. Looks like Lex might have to reconsider his float plans. Lex could very well fold this or follow through on the float maybe, but I don't see him calling.
He does call.
King higher? That's good. Nice call. Jeez. What the hell was that?
That is just a sick, sick call.
Daniel Negreanu is holding ace-10 suited. Pre-flop is all ego and leverage. Tony G opens small Houston flats, and Negreanu snaps on the squeeze to 7K.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, you make it 7,000.
Perfect against 2 wide ranges. Tony G knows Houston's call is weak money and fires back to 24K with pocket 8s, classic isolation, and dare 4-bet. Negreanu takes the button, keeps Tony's bluffs in, and controls the pot. That flat says, I'll outplay you post-flop, keep the range wide. Flop comes rainbow, Negreanu's dream in a 4-bet pot, top pair, ace kicker, clean texture.
I'm all in.
Tony shoves.
Who cares? I guess you you have kings now?
I'm committed again.
No, I know you are. Okay, you can show me one if you want.
Even if you gave me $1 million, I wouldn't show you.
$1 million? Oh boy, Tony G. I guess I should. You're a nice guy. You do good things with your money, right?
I do.
You do? All right, I'll give you some more, I guess. All right.
Daniel calls.
You have kings or something?
No, one time. No.
Jack of clubs on the turn.
Oh my God, did that make him more outs?
Yeah.
I just realized. Oh God, I was like, oh Jack, that's a good card.
The river. The king of hearts.
It's a scary one.
Jennifer Tilly is about to raise Daniel Negreanu blind and get herself in trouble.
I'm going to give you action, Daniel.
I know, I'm gonna put a little in.
Raises.
I have not looked at my cards, and I'm just going to call without looking.
Oh, boy.
And I really haven't looked at my cards. I haven't not looked.
Wow.
Like
I haven't
Tony
looked
G.
or haven't not looked.
I haven't looked, and I
It's me first.
No. Oh, you do?
Can't check.
It is?
Negreanu absolutely loves this texture.
But she's waiting.
I'm waiting to check.
You should just bet blind.
I'm going to raise him blind.
Top pair with a queen kicker and an open-ended backdoor straight draw is close to the top of his range, and the board itself is great for the pre-flop raiser. He has all the strong kings, all the overpairs, and a bunch of natural bluffs. Tilly has more tens and more weird two-pair combos, but her range is also full of total air that just wanted to see a flop.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing, Jennifer Tilly?
I don't know. I have a good feeling.
You have a good feeling?
Yeah, I have a good feeling about my hand.
That's good. That's powerful.
Powerful.
Her raise to 15,000 is a classic Jennifer Tilly move. She is saying, I can have big combo draws like Queen Jack or Jack 9, and you are just c-betting too wide.
Okay, now I think I have to look at my cards.
Daniel re-raises.
Hold on a second.
She's doing the Tony G move.
Wah, wah. Ugh, 5 high.
Wow, that was not a good play. I think the best thing for me to do here now is fold.
Yes.
But you don't have to. But I had you.
I hope that they don't show that hand.
Oh, they will.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 10-9 suited.
Who lost the last one? Me, that'd be me. Steaming.
Boom.
This hand sits in the suited connector bucket that plays well. Versus a 3-bet, it has equity versus broadways, realizes well in position, and can call profitably against most small blind ranges.
Such a good spot.
Oh, him again. Him and his spots again.
Except you have to act first.
Oh, yeah.
Veldhouse re-raises to $7,000 from the small blind. That sizing represents a fairly standard linear small blind 3-bet, strong aces, broadways, and some pocket pairs. When Negreanu calls, his range keeps most suited connectors, suited broadways, medium pairs, and a few slow plays. Importantly, he retains position and stack to pot depth for post-flop maneuvering. Texture advantage is mixed. The small blind has all over pairs and more ace-10 offsuit. The caller has more 4s and 10x suited. Veldhouse continuation bets 11,500 with ace-queen of diamonds.
I love the 6-spot speech. That was the best part of this hand. It's fun. 11. Huh?
That's a good level, huh?
It was good. 6-spot. Boom, raise, da-da-da.
That bet targets folds from unpaired high cards and protects overpairs, while keeping bluffs like 2 overcards with backdoors. Negreanu's call with top pair and excellent runout potential keeps his range uncapped. From Veldhouse's seat, once called, Negreanu's range condenses around 4s, 10s, pocket pairs like jacks through 7s, and sticky backdoors. This is a pivotal card, because trips remain the nuts, and gives Negreanu a valuable backdoor flush draw. Check-check makes sense for both. Veldhouse's ace-queen has little fold equity versus 4s and 10s, and hates getting check-raised. Negreanu's check protects his flop call range, keeps bluffs in, and realizes 2 clean ways to improve, clubs and 9. Negreanu improves to 2-pair, 10s and 9s, while Veldhouse remains with ace-high. From a range view, the river shifts blocker dynamics. Negreanu's line contains more 9x, while Veldhouse remains with ace-high.
I'm all in.
So you're saying I made a good check on the turn? Is that what you're claiming? Such level. I mean, you know more about my game than anyone, so is that enough to make the difference for me? I would have felt better if I just bet the turn, you raised, and then I called. That would have been more fun. Fire on the river. Are you hoping that I'm going to play good here? I'm so confused.
Daniel calls, and for a change, sees some good news at Showdown.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 6-5 of spades. He opens the suited connector because that's Negreanu's playground hand, cheap, connected, and live. Williams flatting the suited wheel ace is already a headache for anyone who c-bets too often. In position, deep, and with the ace of spades, he's got you in a leash if the board gets wet. Flop comes disaster for most ranges, but both players hit the spade. Negreanu has the baby flush and does the thing he always does in these textures. Small c-bet to fold out air, tax the lone spade hands, and keep the initiative. From his chair, that bet looks profitable against a ton of single spade peels and random overcards that hate life. Williams just calls with the nut spade like he's ordering room service. Why raise when the guy with the microphone wants to keep talking? Let him. Turn is a brick that freezes almost nobody. Negreanu barrels bigger. That sizing is classic. I can still be the boss. Telling the table he can easily have the ace or king of spades, and that worse flushes should pay to see the river. Williams still doesn't accelerate. Flat again. That second call is a quiet message. Nothing you're repping scares me, and I'm not done letting you put money in for me. To Negreanu's eyes, that's a card that changes nothing. He is either the sole flush or Williams has him beat. For that reason, he slows down and bets only 6,000. Williams is not happy with and raises to 36,000, trying to juice his nut flush to the max.
How much more?
30,000 more.
Daniel calls and sees the terrible news.
Welcome to my world.
I had a flush too.
We could have got it all in on the flop.
Jesus.
Daniel Negreanu is holding Queen Jack offsuit. He opens to $2,500. That's a bread-and-butter late position open, dominates the Queen 10 and Jack 10 holdings that call too often, has blockers to 3 bets, and plays cleanly post-flop in position. 3 callers flatten with wide, capped ranges, offsuit broadways, suited aces, suited connectors, paired high card textures heavily favor the pre-flop raiser because he has all the strong Queen X and slow-played overpairs. Many callers arrive with 8x, pocket pairs, floats, or the diamond backdoors. Negreanu continuation bets $6,000 into a multi-way field, small sizing that targets folds from ace-high and underpairs while keeping dominated Queen X and diamond draws in. When Holdem continues, his range is mostly Queen X, pocket pairs stubbornly peeling, and diamond hands. Ace-high floats with backdoor equity also show up. The board double pairs, which is a dream card for the raiser's Queen X. Negreanu's value density jumps because any queen now makes a full house, and his bluffs retain good fold equity against stubborn pocket pairs and busted backdoors. He bets $12,000, again a pressure, but keep worse in sizing. Given action, Holdem is rarely trapping queens. He's weighted to diamonds, ace-high floats, and the occasional pocket pair praying for a river miracle. That river improves a lot of Holdem's floats to 1 pair of aces, but it doesn't dent Negreanu's nut edge. Queens still bowed up, 8s don't exist for Holdem often, and missed diamonds remain abundant. After Holdem checks the 3rd time, Negreanu fires $27,000 for clear value.
As we young internet kids say, you're polarized. Isn't that right, Jose?
Yeah.
It's polarized, right?
It's polarized.
You haven't fuffled. Show me one.
Okay.
Daniel shows the jack.
I fold.
Oh, damn it.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down on 9-7 offsuit. He limps, which caps his range and invites someone to attack the dead money. Minieri obliges with an isolation raise using a suited king, a great candidate because it has blockers, plays well post-flop, and pushes the button on everyone who limped. Locke and Martinez come along, which pulls the SPR up and widens continuing ranges.
I get unstuck. I get off the tilt juice.
Hard to get off that tilt teat.
Hellmuth overcalls rather than 3-betting, a choice that keeps the pot manageable, preserves positional leverage against the raiser, and allows weaker holdings to realize without facing a big pre-flop decision. This texture is excellent for the pre-flop aggressor. As the only player who routinely shows up with strong King X after raising, Minieri can c-bet profitably. The small sizing pressures ace-high, punishes underpairs, and denies equity to random backdoors while risking little against slow-played traps. Hellmuth check calls instead of raising. That keeps bluffs firing, prevents the pot from ballooning versus the portion of Minieri's range that will not fold, and sets up a decision tree where Hellmuth can choose which turns to accelerate on. Multi-way callers have folded, so we are quickly moving toward a heads-up range battle that favors the in-position player's initiative and the out-of-position player's ability to trap. The second king super polarizes things. From Minieri's seat, this is a green light to barrel because his range contains far more King X than Hellmuth's limp call range. The bet around $5,300 targets exactly the hands that called once and hate life now, medium pairs and stubborn ace high, and it continues to build a pot in case he is ahead. Hellmuth's second check call is strategic. Raising isolates him against very strong holdings and folds out hands that might bluff again. Calling keeps his range wider, invites another polarized river bet, and protects the times he is bluff catching with decent showdown value. From a range math perspective, once the king pairs, the pre-flop raiser's value density increases, which means the out-of-position player should avoid thin raises and lean into induce lines. Nothing material completes, so Minieri retains a nut advantage and chooses a large polar bet of $17,200. That sizing asks a capped range to overdefend, and it puts maximum pressure on one-pair type catchers that arrived here by calling twice.
Oh, man.
Hellmuth's final check call makes sense within that framework. He beats all the natural stabs that gave up drawing equity on the turn.
It's just unreal what happens to me at this place. I mean, I'm just so sick of it, you know? I mean,
I had the best on the chart, I had the best on the river.
What the is going on in this place? They do me
What the
kings
is going on
versus
the river? How
queens,
do you
I
call it? You
flop
always take a
trips.
bluff, I only wait for the nuts.
Jennifer Tilly is looking down on ace-9 offsuit.
Tony, why are you on my left?
Just thought we'd play one nice spot together.
This is pure ego warfare. Tony G has ace-king and does exactly what you expect from him. He bumps it up to 4,000. Jennifer Tilly does something that really defines the rest of the hand. She does not just call and play a small pot. She reaches for chips and re-raises to 12,000. That re-raise is her planting a flag.
Wow.
From Tony's point of view, ace-king is way too strong to fold, and a 5-bet shove is probably overplaying it against a range that still has monsters.
Is it that good? 12.
So he takes the middling line and just calls, keeping all of Tilly's bluffs and dominated aces in. The flop comes paired, kind of dry, and very awkward for both of them. Tilly, after 4 betting pre-flop, checks. That check is sneaky. With ace-9, she has completely missed. But as the pre-flop aggressor, she could very easily fire and tell a story of queens, kings, or aces. Tony quietly improves to top pair top kicker, while Tilly is now done for. But the real story is what the king does to perceived ranges. From Tilly's point of view, that king is supposed to be a scare card for Tony as well as for her, and bets 12,000. Tony just calls. He does not raise, because when he raises here, he isolates himself against very strong hands and folds out all her air. The river brings the ace, and it is absolutely brutal for Tilly. Tony quietly upgrades from top pair top kicker to top 2 pair. Tilly also improves, but in the most dangerous way possible.
You want me to take the race back?
What?
You want to take it back? I'll take it back. No, really, take it back.
I don't think you could take the ace back.
Then I'll take it back, I promise. If the ace wins, you win the pot.
What do you mean?
So I'm worried like the ace upset you, so I'm happy to take it off the table.
No, the 25K upset me.
Okay, all right, let's leave it on there then. I might need it.
Oh my God. I don't even know why I raised you in the first place.
You want me to make it 20?
Yeah, make it 20.
All right, make it 20.
What a nice guy.
Okay, cool.
Makes the call.
Ace king, I wouldn't lie.
Tom Dwan is looking down on pocket 7s, but he's up against Doug Polk, who's raised to $3,000 with 5-4 suited. 99% of players would just fold with Doug Polk's cards here, but at a cash game of these stakes, the players are mostly playing the players, not the cards. It's a semi-bluff. He's hoping he can steal the pot uncontested.
14.
Tom Dwan raises more than 2 times to pot. This is a classic squeeze spot, punishing Doug Polk's wide cutoff open by denying him the cheap positional advantage and forcing him to commit big if he wants to dance. Doug Polk definitely knows he's a big underdog against a small blind 3-bet range. The call here is less about hand strength and more about trying to outplay Tom Dwan post-flop, using position to create fold equity.
Doug Polk opening the suited connector in the cutoff. Tom Dwan puts in the 3-bet from the small blind and flops middle sets. 31,000 in the middle.
In 3-bet pots, the pre-flop aggressor usually controls the story, and this board gives Tom all the credibility in the world. Doug's range has a lot of air here, so Tom can lean into that advantage and apply maximum pressure, knowing position alone won't save Doug if the bets start piling up.
Doug Polk is going to float.
I don't know why, but I thought Warren just said all in for a second, and I was like, whoa.
Needs running cards to make a hand.
The 6 of hearts on the turn gives Doug Polk an open-ended straight draw, and knowing his maniac style of playing, It could cost him a lot of money.
Could win on the river with an 8 or a 3.
Tilt software. Let's get this shit going.
This should be. Yeah.
Another half pot bet.
115.
And Doug's going to raise.
By inflating the pot here, Doug Polk is putting maximum pressure on Dwan's range and setting up the possibility to shove the river whether he hits or not.
I call.
Interesting.
Battling.
Tom Dwan knows Doug loves bluffing, so he checks to trap him.
420.
What are we doing?
You win.
I know I win, probably.
Uh-oh.
$383,000 pot.
Ryan is looking down on ace deuce suited. He got involved in a few bad beats that night, but little does he know the worst is yet to come. Nick airball takes the button and turns pre-flop into a leverage spot built on position and blockers. His small 3-bet keeps his range wide and the stacks deep, daring the blinds to define themselves out of position. Ryan answers with a chunky 4-bet from the blind, the classic polarized blend of premiums and suited wheel aces that block 5-bet value. Nick's 5-bet to 33K is deliberately petite and keeps everything playable. That sizing telegraphs polarization 2 hands happy to shovel later, and a few suited high-card bluffs that block premium combos and still see flops well. King 9 suited is exactly that kind of wolf in sheep's clothing. It removes King X from Ryan, plays clean on Broadway boards, and retains disguised equity on monotone textures. Ryan's call with ace 2 suited preserves his 4-bet bluffs and defends his story, but it consigns him to the worst seat in a 5-bet pot and leaves him short on nuttiness unless he specifically shows up with the ace of hearts.
68,000 almost already in the middle.
The flop is a monotone Broadway dream for the button, and Nick has the dream within the dream king of hearts and 9 of hearts for the straight flush. On these boards, the 5-better naturally owns the suited high card advantage, so his small continuation bet works on every level. It pressures ace high and medium pairs. It denies a cheap look to hands with a single heart, and it looks perfectly routine whether he's bluffing or holding the nuts. Ryan's call keeps his range wide but already shaky. With ace 2 of diamonds, he has no flush equity, no pair, and no blocker to the nut region Nick actually represents. He's floating almost entirely on the belief that later aggression will fold out hands like red queens or a single king of hearts. The problem is structural. Without the ace of hearts in his hand, his story is missing its cornerstone. Every call he makes builds a pot he'll be forced to bluff later with nothing to lean on. The turn is a blank for Ryan's real hand and a test of discipline. When Nick bets again for 26K, it's the kind of second barrel that keeps pressure on weak pairs and teases calls from single heart holdings. While we wait for Ryan's decision, I would be very grateful if you hit the like button. It helps out a lot. Thank you.
What is Ryan doing? He raises.
Ryan turns to the only weapon he has and check raises to 80K. On paper, it's a move that can make sense. A blind who 4-bet pre and check the flop can credibly represent slow-played ace-high flushes or overpairs containing a big heart. The trouble is combinatorics. Against Nick's 5-bet range full of king-high and ace-high suited broadways, you need the ace of hearts or king of hearts in hand to strip value from his continuing region. Without it, you're bluffing into a range that simply doesn't fold.
See Ryan rolling his eyes at himself.
Nick's decision to flat rather than jam is the final layer of control. It keeps Ryan's bluffs alive, invites another shove from weaker value, and guarantees a river spot where his straight flush is untouchable.
All in. All in.
And Ryan shoves.
You win.
And loses a $383,000 pot.
Ah, what a stupid
wow.
error.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 5-4 suited. Pre-flopman. This is a classic clash between perceived strength and disguised equity. Johanna 3-bets big with ace-queen, exactly the kind of hand that wants to isolate the opener and play a bloated pot from position.
Okay, I bet.
Negreanu flats on the button with 5-4 of hearts, fully aware that he is dominated high card-wise but armed with a hand that smashes low, connected boards. Once George gets out of the way, Johanna thinks she has created a clean heads-up spot against a capped calling range.
I pay.
When in reality, she has invited one of the worst possible suited connectors to the party. The flop comes a disaster for Johanna's range. Her overcards and backdoor possibilities shrink in value while Negreanu quietly connects as hard as it gets, a made straight with a live flush draw. When she continuation bets 100,000, it is completely standard. This is the board she is supposed to attack after 3-betting pre. Negreanu just check calls, and that passive line is lethal. From her side, it looks like exactly what she wants to see. The turn brings the ace, finally giving Johanna top pair on top of her draw and seemingly flipping the script. She barrels 200,000, and now Negreanu springs the trap, check raising to 500,000. That raise is polar, strong value, or big bluffs, and against most players, ace-queen with a strong draw feels too good to fold.
500. 3 more.
Negreanu's line almost never contains bluffs here. He has been slow playing on an ultra-wet flop, and the ace is a perfect card for him to attack.
I'm all in.
I call.
An all-in and a call.
I have it. She has a flush draw too?
4 5 of hearts for
8 of hearts for her. Sick hand, huh?
That doesn't help her.
That was very unlucky.
Wow, what a hand.
Yeah.
Tony G is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. Pre-flop. This is one of those spots where the seeds of disaster get planted before anyone sees a board. Tony G opens the pot with ace-jack offsuit, exactly the kind of hand he is happy to lean on the table with. He is there to apply pressure, not to wait around for premiums. Seaver calls with king-deuce of hearts, a loose but very on-brand suited peel against Tony's wide-opening range. He is looking to tangle, take flops, and make Tony play post-flop. With these two,
too easy.
This is still completely standard deep stack poker, but you can already feel the hand turning into a little ego test between two players who love putting each other in tough spots. The texture instantly turns the hand into a clash of extremes. Tony has the nut flush draw with ace-jack, plus a gut shot to the 10 and 2 overcards to Seaver's weaker 1-pair holdings. Seaver, meanwhile, has quietly flopped top and bottom 2-pair on a monotone board with no club in his hand. It is a dream and a nightmare at the same time, massively ahead of all the bear club draws and random kings, but stone dead if anyone already has a made flush.
I'm all in.
Scott's all in. Tony calls.
Run it once again, or? Yeah. Okay.
He has 2 pair. He has the straight. The straight for sure. Tony, you have a straight.
No.
You have a straight.
This is, again, a too many outs syndrome. I wish he just had ace-jack no club, but then I'd be in trouble. Ace-jack with a club, though? Too many outs.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Jack on the turn.
Okay, now it could be an ace, jack, 10.
Like I said, this is way too many outs syndrome. Way too many outs.
The river. A brick.
Unreal.
Well done.
You never win any hand.
No.
Crazy.
That's it. Sorry, Tony.
Negreanu is looking down on Jack 10 suited. Lichtenberger opens the hijack and both stacks behind are deep, so the pre-flop incentives matter. With aces, raising to 45K keeps in dominated broadways and pairs while leaving room to play streets post-flop instead of taking a huge 4-bet pot this close to the business end of a major event. Negreanu flats the cutoff with Jack 10 suited. Against a competent hijack opener and a sticky big blind, that hand prints by realizing equity rather than trying to 3-bet. If he 3-bets, he invites a 4-bet from value, folds out the weaker stuff he dominates, and risks playing a bloated pot with a hand that prefers multi-way, position, and disguised equity. D bleeds into 2 players. With top pair and a backdoor club, he denies overcards a free look and sets the price on a texture that can change quickly. Lichtenberger just calls with aces. That's deliberate, raising polarizes him on a wet board and risks pushing out Negreanu's dominated continues. With the ace of clubs, he blocks the nut flush, so he doesn't fear as many bad turns and can keep ranges wide. Negreanu's call with Jack 10 is standard. He has the clean open-ender to the nuts, excellent position, and 2 opponents who will pay him off if he hits. Turning this into a raise would fold out worse and isolate against the top of range. The 7 of clubs hits, and Negreanu picks up the straight at the same time the front door flush completes. Lichtenberger checks as well, which keeps his range disguised and preserves the option to spring a check raise. With aces that include the ace of clubs, he can induce a bet, choose between calling and jamming, and if he is behind, he carries 9 outs to the nuts. Negreanu fires 295K to tax everything at once. The bet extracts from 2 pairs and sets that fear a 4th club, charges single club overpairs that refuse to fold, and denies a cheap river to ace of clubs holdings that would love a free card. The sizing is intentional because it sets up a straightforward stack-off versus a check raise, and avoids giving a volatile river the chance to undo his equity lead.
Feeling comfortable right now. See? You can tell by my energy. Relaxed. What does that usually mean? Huh? What? Dang! As soon as I start yapping, he goes in. Oh, man.
Imagine that you are so good with the mind games that you can induce an all-in shove with just some yapping.
It's tough decision. I'm gonna need a minute.
While we wait for Negreanu to make his decision, please give this video a like. Thank you.
Because you check the turn. I guess you do that with the ace-high flush, right? Well, you have to have it. I don't think I can fold, though. Nice hand, bro.
This part here was inaudible, but you can clearly see that he is saying deuce of hearts a few times.
Called the deuce of hearts. Were you hearing me saying deuce of hearts?
Maria Ho is looking down on King 9 suited. She limps the button, which already tells you her plan to keep ranges wide and let him put himself in a bad position post-flop. Ike makes it 230K from the blind. That's classic heads-up logic. Punish the limp, isolate, take control with position post-flop. The problem is, Maria's hand actually plays great versus that sizing, and her call means Ike is now in the blender with a weak, dominated hand in a bloated pot. This flop is basically nightmare equity mapping for Ike. He flops trips if he's Maria, but he's not Maria, she is. He just pairs his 6. With that texture, from Ike's perspective, he's going to get called by worse a lot if he bets, and he's also repping strong, so he continuation bets 175K. That C-bet with middle pair is him kind of value protecting and denying equity versus overcards. Maria just calls. She doesn't raise, and that flat is so evil. If she raises the flop, Ike can sometimes hero fold hands and avoid lighting the rest of the clip on fire. By just calling, she keeps in literally everything he can keep barreling with. He shuts down. He checks. That check is him saying, okay, maybe I don't need to blast with just a 6 here. Let's control. Maria bets 310K into that check. That sizing is nasty because it forces Ike to start making real decisions with a bluff catcher, and it continues the story that she could just be stabbing after he gave up on the king. From Ike's point of view, her line still looks super wide. She can absolutely be floating with air and now trying to win it. So Ike calls. The river pairs the 6. That is the cruel part. Ike goes from, I have 2 pair, I'm bluff catching, to wait, I've got a full house now, 6 is full of 9s. I actually beat random bluffs and counterfeited 9s that didn't improve. His hand upgrades in his mind. He checks, planning to catch, and Maria just rips it in.
And she shoves on Ike.
I want to make a really big fold here. I think you have it.
5 seconds.
Yeah, okay. Time to look either real smart or real dumb. Ugh, that was gross.
Daniel Negreanu is holding 8-6 suited. Pre-flop, this is exactly the kind of button versus early dynamic where small mistakes get magnified. Gruesome opens 5100 from early position, a completely standard raise that projects strength and hits a lot of high card boards. Negreanu just flats on the button with one of his trademark speculative holdings. It is the kind of hand that rarely dominates anything but quietly crashes big pots whenever it actually connects. The flop is a board that gives each player just enough to keep going. Gruesome has 2 overcards and range advantage, so his 8,000 continuation bet is automatic. He is repping all the big queens, overpairs, and strong draws that fit his open. Negreanu, on the other hand, has exactly what he was hoping for, middle pair with a decent kicker in position. Folding second pair here would be way too tight. Raising would turn his hand into a bluff, so he does what he does best and turns it into a bluff catcher, flatting and forcing Gruesome to keep telling the story. The turn brings the 2 of hearts, and this is where the hand really sharpens. The card is a brick for Negreanu, but it quietly upgrades Gruesome bluff. He can now pretend he picked up a backdoor heart draw to go with his overcards, which makes barreling much more attractive. His 18,000 second shell is not just aggression for aggression's sake.
How much is that?
He is attacking all Negreanu's 1 pair, I'll call once and see, hands and putting pressure on exactly the kind of 8x that Negreanu happens to hold. Negreanu thinks it through and again chooses the stubborn line. His pair of 8s is still ahead of all the floats and semi-bluffs, and with position he is happy to keep Gruesome's range wide and confused. Then the river drops the ace, and that single card flips the script. All the way through the hand, Gruesome has been representing big aces and queens. Now he actually gets there.
Make sure it's not there. Nope, it's not there.
Pretty easy fold at this point. Daniel's only beating complete air.
He passes. Hearts, I guess.
What's that?
Phil Ivey is looking down on ace-9 offsuit. Pre-flop. This is Ivy doing something he has done his whole career, isolating the big blind and putting him in a kicker cage before the flop even comes. He opens with ace-9 offsuit, a classic sit-between trash and premium, hand that plays very well when you are better than your opponent post-flop. Quas defends ace-5 suited, and that call already sketches the outlines of his problem. He is never folding an ace this deep in the big blind getting a price, but his kicker is trash against a competent early position raiser. He is walking into a pot where every time he hits an ace, he has to live with the fear that the other guy's kicker will be better. The flop comes low and dry. From Quas's point of view, this is one of those, I have nothing, but I am probably still ahead sometimes. He has ace high with a straight possibility, but no real pair, no showdown value yet. He checks, and Ivy fires 80,000 into a little over 100. That sizing is interesting. It is not a tiny range c-bet. It is a solid, confident stab that says, I expect you to fold a lot. With ace-9, Ivy is turning the best ace-high into a value protection bet. He is targeting exactly this type of thing. Random overcards, weak-suited aces, and small pairs that do not want to face big pressure. Quas's call keeps things honest. He is not believing that this board always belongs to the raiser, and he knows Ivy can barrel. The river ace is the entire hand. It looks like a blank for the story, but it turns everything upside down. Both players suddenly smash top pair, and now that kicker problem Quas created pre-flop shows up in bright neon lights. Ivy reads that hesitation and fires 150,000. Quas goes into the tank and eventually pays it off. Mike X is looking down on 4-3 suited. Pre-flop this looks like a friendly limped almost family pot, but it secretly plants the seeds for a brutal cooler. J-Boggs just limps UTG with King-9 suited, Big Mike over limps with Ace-7, and Mike X comes along with 4-3 suited. Nobody has defined anything. There is no pre-flop aggression, and that means once the board gets messy, ranges stay wide, and people get married to hands they should be more suspicious of. The flop comes Ace-Jack-5 with a flush draw. It is one of those textures that punches Big Mike right in the chest, top pair with a decent kicker. J-Boggs leads 900 into the field, semi-bluffing with his draw and representing some weak ace or jack. Big Mike's call is very natural. He is way ahead of all the random stabs and worse aces that can limp. Mike X's call with bottom pair plus backdoor possibilities looks loose, but has a plan. In a limped pot, he is getting a good price and knows that if he improves, his hand will be heavily disguised. The turn brings the 4, which is a complete brick for Mike X. He is still hoping to draw that 4 of diamonds, so let's see what happens. And still no obvious danger showing. Action goes. Check from J-Boggs. Big Mike fires 3,000 as a standard value bet with top pair on a coordinated board. Mike X just calls again, and J-Boggs comes along with his strong draw. That passive flat for Mike X is sneaky, but it also keeps the pot multi-way on a board that is starting to load up with strong made hands and big draws. By the time they see a river, the pot is already big relative to stacks. The river drops the deuce, completing the flush wheel for Mike X, but, crucially, also completing the front door flush for J-Boggs. J-Boggs checks trying to trap with what he assumes is the nuts. Big Mike gives up and checks behind, and Mike X goes for what looks like a thin but reasonable value bet of 6,500. When J-Boggs now check raises to 20,000, he is screaming polarization, either a busted bluff turning into a story, or exactly a big flush. Mike X's shove over the top takes his hand from cleverly disguised to face-up spew. J-Boggs obliges and snaps with the king-high nut flush.
Can't fold. Here's the call. And here comes Clifford.
You knew it. I have the nuts. Flush.
Nuts flush?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. The red canine brings out the red canine. Go get him. Take him off his leash.
When I re-raise, like, can't have anything else.
Go get Clifford out of rebuy corner. Clifford's down there.